It's only you and your opponent. Two individuals in hand-to-hand combat. In this Bedlam matchup tonight, we revisit a series that dates back to 1920. Two of college wrestling's most storied programs, Two Men and the Mat. Oklahoma and number 2 Oklahoma State coming up next. Good evening and welcome to Gallagher-Iba Arena in Stillwater, Oklahoma, on the campus of Oklahoma State University. Gallagher-Iba, the nation's most storied wrestling arena in all of college wrestling. We're here after a round robin of dual matches, the Big 12 Conference today, capping it off with Bedlam, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Hello, I'm J. Carl Guyman, and along with me, former University of Oklahoma head coach Jack Spates. And we'll be bringing you the action tonight as these schools match up in the series, as we mentioned, that goes all the way back to 1920. A lot of good action today and a lot of good action around the nation this year. We'll take a look at the nation's top 5 teams. Oklahoma State, as we said, number 2. Minnesota leading the pack after knocking off Oklahoma State in the finals of the national duels here a week ago. So the Gophers right now, the best dual team. Penn State still considered a slight favorite going into the NCAA tournament here in a couple of weeks. Been a good evening, and Jack, let's talk about tonight. Oklahoma, usually when we look at Bedlam, we're looking at a dramatic, high-profile wrestling event. It's not quite that tonight for a couple of reasons from Oklahoma's standpoint, a couple of things that have happened.
Well, in the beginning of the year, OU coach Mark Cody made a tough but wise decision to redshirt 3 All-Americans in order to build for the future. It's made for a long year. Today, he made another tough decision, and that's to keep most of his starters out of the lineup in hopes of a better Big 12 performance. And tonight might be the longest night of his life. This coaching business, it's not for the faint of heart.
Well, we'll talk more about those guys who are missing later on. But number 1 at 141, Keldrick Maple, the number 1 ranked wrestler. We won't see him, but we will see one of the nation's premier wrestlers at 149 and unbeaten, number 1 ranked Jordan Oliver, a 3-time All-American, NCAA champion, 4th place finish as a freshman champion, and then runner-up last year at 133 pounds. He's bumped up 2 weight classes to 149 and has shown no signs of slowing down.
No, absolutely. Jordan Oliver is great in every position. You can't beat him on the feet. You can't beat him when he's on top. You can't beat him on bottom. He's special.
The 4 schools that wrestle in the Big 12 have 125-pounders this year who have yet to really claim a for sure NCAA tournament berth. Oklahoma's Kyle Garcia hopes to do that this weekend and get his team off to a good start tonight in his match with Eddie Klimara of Oklahoma State. Garcia, a freshman, has had a tough time early this year as he got used to the lineup, and being a freshman in the lineup, it was tough, but he's come on, and we look for a good battle tonight. He did beat Klimara 3-2 back in December.
Well, that's a bout that could be very competitive. I will say this. Eddie Klimara is the most improved wrestler in the country, in my opinion. Okay, great scrambling ability, tremendous competitor, but this should be a good match. Kyle Garcia comes to wrestle.
And because of the Oklahoma starters who are missing, that might be the best matchup of the night. Our third member of our broadcast crew this evening is Aaron Jackson. Aaron, let's take it to you.
Thank you very much, Jay Carl. A very unusual format this year as Oklahoma State and Oklahoma now on their 3rd duel of the day, that going into the Big 12 championship tomorrow. So focus could be a huge challenge for some of these athletes. A couple of the athletes, namely for Oklahoma State, really need to focus because they need a huge weekend in order to qualify for the NCAA tournament. At 141, the sophomore Julian Feikert, and then also Eddie Klimara, as you guys just talked about, just about to kick things off for the Cowboys at 125.
It reads, due to tire.
Okay, we're ready to start at 125 pounds. As we mentioned, Kyle Garcia for the Sooners, 12-14 this year. The freshman, both of these guys freshmen. Garcia from Choctaw down by Oklahoma City. And Eddie Klimara, the freshman from Joliet, Illinois. He's now 25-15. As Jack said earlier in our introduction, Eddie Klimara was thrown into the lineup as a freshman, struggled for a bit, a little bit small for the weight, and has really come along. He's given some of the best wrestlers at this weight class nationally very tight matches and has just looked better and better, as he did today, handling Ryan Finch from Iowa State quite comfortably.
Absolutely, and in the national duels, he was winning with 10 seconds to go against third-ranked Jesse Delgado. So he's got some tools. This is where Garcia's good. He's actually good on his knees. Doesn't usually get beat with that fireman's carry, but did there. That doesn't bode well.
That was really a nice move there by Klimara. He's been tough. He's been able to post the head on guys lately, I noticed, and then work to the corner and score that way. And, of course, he had the little, I would call that a short fireman's maybe that he used there.
Well, that was Garcia with the fireman's.
Yeah, Garcia.
Klimara stopped him with his hips. I'm impressed with Klimara's scrambling ability.
Yeah, he's really improved. And, of course, as you know, being a long-time coach, you get guys that are young in your lineup. You go through the year, and they have their ups and downs. They might hit a wall at some point, but later in the year, usually you see some big improvement. Klimara working on top. Good job countering the roll.
And that Granby is one of Garcia's signature moves.
Yes, it is. 2-0. He used that good effect down in the Bedlam duel in Norman in December. Still 2-0 Klimara after that takedown. Riding on top. He's not thrown legs in at this point. Working on the right wrist. And they're off with 1:50 remaining in the first. 2-0 Klimara. As we talked earlier, these two guys, Finch of Iowa State, Shane Young of West Virginia, none of them really has a spot locked up in the NCAA. So, frankly, I was surprised to see Shane Young not wrestle those two matches today, because these four guys, I think, need all the victories they can get this weekend.
There's that Granby again. Here's one key factor, and that's this. Klimara's season has been a lot shorter, which sometimes is a big factor for freshmen. The high school season is so much shorter. Some of these guys come in the summer. They've already been wrestling 6, 7, 8, 9 months. It wears on you.
2-1 after Garcia's escape, but 104 riding time accumulated by Klimara. That could be big later on. And they're off with 118, countering those shots. You know, Jack, I worked the Texas State High School Championships with a telecast a couple of weeks ago. Some of those guys had 60 matches in the season. That's too many to me.
Well, people wonder why knees get blown out and shoulders go. Kids are starting at 4 or 5 years of age, less than 50-plus matches. I'm not sure the human body was designed for that.
Here again, Klimara posting the head, trying to work to the corner. Garcia defending. Nice job by Garcia, but he needs to clear the head, right?
Well, he's got to get that elbow out. And this is where Garcia is surprisingly good, even when it doesn't look like he's got that short fireman's. He's got it.
Both of these guys have been a lot more active this period than they were down in Norman. They were both young, a little tentative in Bedlam, I think, down there, a little tight maybe, but they fired away here. Stalemate called with 37 seconds to go by referee Kenny Ritchie. And still 2-1, Klimara. A big thing, too, in wrestling, the shot by Klimara. Gets in on the leg. Hip block thrown in, or whizzer, if you prefer, by Garcia.
And Garcia is not, with that whizzer, you want to whizzer your own ankle. He just had a shallow whizzer. It's not going to be enough. There's the cheers.
Two. Off the mat with 14 seconds to go, but suddenly Klimara with a 4-1 lead, and that's big. I was about to say, in any match that's competitive, it's huge if you can score late in the period, especially if the guy doesn't have a chance to escape. You don't give up that point. That's really big.
We call it an unanswered 2. Absolutely.
10 seconds to go. Garcia needs to get out.
One thing, you won't see Garcia quit. He'll battle till the end.
Tried the Granby again. Klimara's obviously learned about countering that Granby as the time runs out, because Garcia had success with that in Norman.
He's also watching for that fireman's.
Opened early with Klimara making the shot.
Here's a recap. He stops that fireman's. He should be dropping his hip. There, drops the hips. That's where he beats him right there.
Nice counter to the takedown, and then Klimara was even more the aggressor after that. It's Klimara's taking bottom to start the second with a 4-1 lead. Both these guys have gotten better underneath as the season wears on, and as we all know in college wrestling, most freshmen aren't very good underneath when they start out, are they?
No, and that's because the good ones haven't spent much time there in high school.
Right. They've been on top.
Plus, that's where you feel the strength of guys that are 21, 22 years old on you, that man strength that kicks in.
Garcia, a nice job controlling so far. Has the left leg. And Klimara gets to his base and is out of there suddenly. Just burst out of it. Good job. 5-1 Klimara. He still has 44 seconds riding time and likely will get some in the third if Garcia chooses bottom.
Garcia wrestles a lot from his knees, but Klimara is really good in that what we call short offense position.
Good high crotch shot there by Garcia, but didn't have enough of it. Klimara out of that one pretty easily. Still 5-1. Opening match of the Bedlam duel. Oklahoma ordinarily would be standing here with all their starters trying to upset number 2 Oklahoma State. A little bit bigger mountain to climb tonight, but this is an important matchup right here for Kyle Garcia personally.
Well, these guys are battling for a slot at the NCAA championship, so regardless of team score, this is big.
This is big for both of these young men. And whoever wins tonight, the other one could beat him tomorrow night. You never know in this competition. Klimara, a little more coy now, probably thinking, you need to come after me. I'm up 5-1. You got to come and get me.
Well, keeping that head down and hand down tends to shut off that long fireman's carry. That long open fireman's carry that Garcia hits is reminiscent of a former Lehigh great from years ago who would hit that from open. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Mike Caruso?
Absolutely, Mike Caruso.
Certainly.
Beat the same guy at
5-1 as we end the second. We go to the third, and it's Garcia's choice.
Here's Klimara on bottom in a replay. Does a stand up? He's up, he's out.
And for a moment there, it looked like Garcia had him well controlled, and suddenly a good burst, and he's out of there. Garcia on bottom needs to escape quickly and go to work. Granby again, countered nicely.
He's got to go to something else. That Granby's well scouted.
He's obviously worked on that. Klimara had figured it out somewhat, but Garcia might get it done here.
Looking for the short drag, coming right back. There's that fireman.
There's the fireman. That was 5-3.
That was a fireman's off a knee tap.
Chicken wing applied by Garcia briefly on the right arm. Now he changes it to a hammerlock. Good move there, and that got him back in the match. And I said takedown. That was actually a reverse, wasn't it?
Yeah, and had he been able to hold that for back points, it would have been big.
It would have been huge.
He's going to have a hard time turning him from on top. He might have to let him go.
1:12 to go. Riding time not a factor in the match right now. And Garcia does let him go, so that'll make it 6-3 Klimara. And pretty simple. Garcia needs 2 takedowns or a big move.
Yep.
A 4 or 5 point move.
Sometimes when you drag out, the opponent steps his knee forward to stop it. That's when you go to the knee tap.
Garcia picking up the pace now, knows he's got to go score. Klimara doesn't really have to score, just stay active enough to not get hit. A counter by Klimara, and he scores. That was huge in the match right there.
Yep. And even though he knows the Granby's coming, he might want to let him go and not play with it.
8-3 our score. Whoops, off on the basketball floor. Kyle Garcia finally makes the fireman's work.
Looking for the drag out. There's that knee tap right there not to his back.
Almost.
Try the knee tap again. Klimara comes around, anticipates it.
If you're Klimara here, the last thing you want to do is get in any kind of a roll or scramble. Just push him away if you have to, right?
Yeah, only way you can get beat is a 5-point move.
Don't give up a reverse into a near fall. Just let him go. There's the Granby and the escape, 8-4. Klimara right back in, and he has 2 more. Right? They didn't get the escape. I beg your pardon. So it's still 8-3. Still 8-3. Riding time now in Klimara's favor. He wins it. 9-3. Very impressive by Eddie.
Very, very impressive. This guy is an all-American bubble guy. If he gets the right draw at the NCAAs, this guy could be standing on the stand in a couple of weeks.
So Oklahoma State leads the duel 3-0, and for the rest of the evening, Oklahoma, to be honest, is going to have to battle hard to find a place for a victory.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go to Aaron Jackson standing by.
Thank you very much. Eddie, great match for you. You were an all-state in high school and all-American in high school. How does it compare at this level?
It really doesn't, especially with all the fans and stuff. It's just a great feeling. It's awesome. Especially being on the Cowboys and everything. I like it. It's awesome.
Well, you have a real shot at going to the NCAA tournament. Just talk about that, the pressure, and what that would mean to you.
The pressure, how I look at it is I'm not the only one with pressure. The other kids that I'm wrestling too have pressure. So kind of just got to put that aside and just go out there and wrestle. And that's basically what I'm doing right now.
Best of luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Eddie Klimara, 3 big victories today. We'll go to 141 next because we have a forfeit at 133. We'll be. Welcome back to Bedlam, and we are ready for 141 pounds, and the Sooners will send out Dalton Dennis, 12-5 as a freshman. Now remember, he's the backup to the great Keldrick Maple, who is the #1 ranked wrestler in the nation at this weight for Oklahoma. And his opponent tonight will be Julian Feikert, 19-16 for Oklahoma State, a sophomore from Keokuk, Iowa, a rare Iowa starter in an Oklahoma school's lineup. Feikert not really projected to be the starter this year at Oklahoma State, but since Josh Kindig is redshirting, he's in there. Good shot in there quickly by Dalton Dennis. And Feikert is one of those guys still battling to try to find a way to get an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament, which comes up in 2 weeks in Des Moines. So you got 3 Dennis brothers at the University of Oklahoma right now, right?
Absolutely, and a little one on the way. These are great kids, all hard workers, all faithful kids, just salt of the earth type kids. Dalton was a high school state champion in Florida. Not a real aggressive wrestler, but good position, works hard, good conditioning. He'll battle for you.
Well, in the next weight class, we'll see one of his brothers, Dillon, a senior, battling as a backup, going the tough assignment against Jordan Oliver. But this one, no score, a little over a minute into it. Oklahoma State now leading the duel 9-0 after the 6 points picked up on the forfeit to John Morrison at 133. We should mention him. He's ranked 6th nationally. Good shot in there by Feikert.
That's a front headlock dump. He might, nope, doesn't quite have that bottom leg cradle.
Got 2, but not more. Almost looked like it was going to be more, didn't it?
And that's the thing about Feikert. He's a dangerous wrestler, as seen in his fall earlier in the year against Dardane of Minnesota.
Yeah, big match up there, and he actually is what pulled Oklahoma State to victory in that duel with an unexpected pin. Dalton Dennis and Julian Feikert. Feikert now 19-16 now. He was 17-16 going into today. Picked up a couple of nice victories.
Dalton wrestling hard, right to his feet.
You know, and actually, they go off with 1:10 to go, still 2-0. Feikert won a big match today against Gettle from Iowa State, because that likely will get him the #3 seed tomorrow at 141. You don't want to be on the half with Keldrick Maple in the semifinals. You want to get to the finals, because then you're going to qualify if you get to the finals.
No, absolutely. And in Keldrick Maple, you've got a Jordan Oliver-esque type wrestler. He could very well go all the way this year.
The Big 12 has 2 qualifiers assured for the NCAA tournament. Maple will obviously be one, and the runner-up tomorrow night will be the other one. So you don't want to meet Maple in the semis and drop into the 3rd place match. So Feikert might have dodged that bullet today.
Interesting aside, I met the Dennis boys out in California where we were competing, and they were honorary coaches for us. I think they were like 6, 8, and 10, somewhere around their years of age. So they've been Sooner fans for a long time.
Good ride by Feikert. He's got over a minute now. Final 20 seconds of the first period. 2-0 Feikert after that good takedown he had. Almost had it into a near fall, but not quite.
And here's where Dalton's got to not worry about hand control. Get your weight back, get your back up, and then.
Oh, that would be big, and he got away there with 2 seconds left. Big escape. Feikert probably kicking himself. Feikert struck early.
Here's the takedown. It's a modified front headlock dump because he did it off the head. Usually you have the inside tie. That's a move that was popularized by the Virginia Tech coach. Here's your escape, and it's just good hustle, kicking out, fighting, battling.
Well, as we said, when you can get those unanswered points, those can be big later in the match. Feikert quickly a spin out, and he's out of there. Leads 3-1 to start the 2nd period. Has 1:25 riding time also, which might be really hard to erase because Dennis likely will choose bottom to start the 3rd. Or he might not, depending on what happens the rest of the 2nd. A lot of strategy involved.
There's a big arch on his sit-out. If I'm Dennis, I'm looking to try and get a chin back there.
Snap him right back.
Yep.
Yeah, almost a high bridge position the way he did it, wasn't it? The way Feikert did it. And if you're going to do that, you better do it quickly. So we're in the 141-pound match. 1:20 left in the second period. Oklahoma State leads 9-0 if you just joined us. Eddie Klimara, a 9-3 victory at 125 over Kyle Garcia. A forfeit awarded to John Morrison at 133. And here we are with Dalton Dennis of the Sooners and Julian Feikert of the Cowboys.
The problem for Dalton is being a defensive rusher, he scores most on the other opponent's attack, but he's behind them. He's got to go. Single attempt, good front headlock counter.
And Feikert scrambling there for a moment, but no damage done. Still 3-1 Feikert. Oklahoma coming back, as we talked about, looking for next year with right now number 9 ranked Cody Brewer at 133, Kendrick Maple number 1 here, Bubby Graham number 5 at 165, and then you throw in All-American Jared Patterson at 125, and Travis Rutt and Andrew Howe NCAA champ 2 years ago, 165, 174, wherever he ends up, and then Rutt at 184, maybe 197 even. An All-American, so that's going to give the Sooners a potent lineup, and the tournament next year.
Here's the deal.
Big 12 will be in Norman, and the NCAA will be in Oklahoma City.
Coach Cody's going to become a great coach real fast. And he is a great coach for those who forget. In 2011, he was National Coach of the Year.
End of the second. Coming up next, right after this, Jordan Oliver getting loose on the sidelines. 30-0, 2 pins today. He's certainly on a roll. If when he wrestles, we might see in a very unusual move called the Jermaine Jones. Dennis chooses bottom. Feikert puts him right back to the mat. And, of course, with their riding time already over 1.5 minutes against him, Dennis needs to get out very quickly.
Yeah, an escape and takedown now just ties it up.
Unless you can ride enough, and that's going to be hard because we're getting closer and closer where that riding time will be irreversible. With 1:54 riding time, 1:30 left in the match. Got to get out of there and score and get on top and make a decision pretty quickly whether you think you can turn him or not. And if not, you might as well let him go. But first things first, you got to get out. 1:19 left. 3-1 Feikert, just kind of a methodical match, just the one takedown. Dennis hanging in there, still has a chance.
Okay, this is a little semi-changeover. Dalton's a little too reliant on that switch, and it gets him broken down like he is here. You want to keep a strong base. Well,
if you can't keep your base, then obviously you can't get out if you get flattened out and broken down. So, of course, it's easier said than done, but sitting here talking about it.
Well, let me tell you, this is a dream for a guy like Dalton to be here in Bedlam, in historic Galga-Iba. Many would never have thought that he would one day be representing a team like the Sooners.
By the way, if you hear the noise in the background, and if you weren't aware of this, of course, we've had the round-robin duels all day. West Virginia and Iowa State wrestling on the adjacent mat. Today, early round, Oklahoma State beat West Virginia. Iowa State beat Oklahoma. And then we have the next session, and then now we jump right into the Bedlam tonight. So a busy day here.
24, got to go.
Yeah, 24 seconds left, and as Jack said, an escape and a takedown would only effectively tie it because the riding time is cinched for Feikert. So he's up 4-1 realistically.
Disappointing, but not a bad effort for Dalton Dennis at all.
Oh, solid 4-1 for Julian Feikert. Dennis certainly didn't embarrass himself. It'll be 4-1. 12-0. The Cowboys lead the duel after Julian Feikert's decision. Coming up at 1:49, Jordan Oliver looking for his 16th pin and 31st straight victory of the season as he goes against Dillon Dennis. We're going to have more Bedlam all evening long. Stay with us, won't you? Well, as expected, as we return to the Bedlam match, Going into 149 pounds, Oklahoma State with a 12-0 lead and getting ready to see one of the nation's very best. Jordan Oliver, fourth, first, and second in the NCAA his 3 years, three-time Big 12 champion, and 30-0 now after today's earlier action, including 15 pins. So he is dynamite. As Jack said earlier, he only does three things well: top, bottom, and neutral.
That's exactly right. And we might add that second in the NCAA was on one of the most controversial calls in NCAA wrestling history.
Well, here we go, and he's going against the other Dennis we mentioned, Dillon Dennis, who's only 1-5, a senior, and from Clearwater, of course, like his brother, Clearwater, Florida. Oliver, a senior from Easton, Pennsylvania, long a powerhouse in high school wrestling, and
coached by the great Steve Powell. And this is a little like my friend sending the Christians to the Lions. And actually, Dillon did attend Northside Christian Academy, and Jordan Oliver's every bit a Lion.
A quick takedown,
look at that
release, double leg takedown, a blast double, boom, 4-1.
You know, not that he's not done that in the past, but I think that has become a dominant weapon in his arsenal. I think it's going to serve him well, not only here, but also in Olympic wrestling.
And right to work into a turn. Oliver trying to get him on his back. Good job by Dennis to get back to his base. 4-1. Opening 55 seconds.
We're going to see that second takedown of Jordan Oliver's here. There's that blast double, popularized by who? Jordan Burroughs, Olympic gold medalist from Nebraska.
We've seen him in the Big 12 finals a couple of years.
I'd say Jordan light, except at this stage of the game, he's had a better career than Jordan.
Nice
Burroughs.
little ankle pick by Oliver right into his third takedown in the opening minute and 10 seconds. So 6-2. Now, at some point, he'll quit releasing Dennis and start trying to turn him. He's got a great cradle. That's one of his...
Well, and sometimes what you do is you take the spirit. There's that roll-through cradle.
He's pinned right there. Yep. And 1 minute, 28 seconds. Jordan Oliver the fall with the cradle.
Hey, that's no disgrace against a guy like Jordan Oliver. Sometimes I was saying what you do is you break a guy's spirit by taking him down, letting him up, taking him down, letting him up, and then you go for the turn. And he starts to hang his head a little bit.
Well, and every takedown starts to get easier because they get worn down a little and a little bit befuddled, and sure enough, he's on his back. Wow. Aaron Jackson standing by with the guy, I believe, who just applied a nice cradle.
That's right. It didn't take you very long, but you are 1 day away from potentially your fourth straight individual title. What would that mean to you to go out of here on a high note?
It means everything. It's a perfect setting going for my fourth title. Actually, my third OW in the tournament, but being here in Stillwater is just it's an honor, and so much history in the Big 12 and very little four-time champs. So that's a great honor for me and a great company for me to join.
Well, you were recognized before the game as one of the seniors, before the match rather, as one of the seniors, just wrestling in front of everyone here at Gallagher-Iba in the last dual meet anyway. What was that like?
It's unbelievable. 5 years went by so fast, like a blink of an eye. I remember the first time walking in here as a red shirt and thinking how unbelievable it is just to wrestle in front of such a great fan base and have the great audience and such a dedicated fans, and wanting to wrestle in front of them, and 4 years passed by so fast. But it's been an honor and a privilege to have such great and loving fans, and just to be part of Oklahoma State.
Best of luck in the NCAAs.
Thank you.
All right, Jay Carl.
Jordan Oliver, third straight pin of the day. More wrestling right after this. Ready for 157 pounds in the Bedlam match as Justin DeAngelis from Oklahoma tries to get his team on the scoreboard. He's 13-5 this year as a backup to Matt Lester, but he has a tall order. Number 7 nationally ranked Alex Dieringer, the precocious freshman for the Cowboys, 28-2 this year, has had an outstanding freshman year. DeAngelis would like to pull the upset here, Jack. What does he need to do to try to upset Alex Dieringer?
Well, one, he needs to get to his inside tie. He's got a real good near arm far leg. Justin can wrestle. He's a 3-time Oklahoma State champion. He's got the pedigree. His dad was a national runner-up wrestling years ago for the University of Oklahoma. So he knows how to wrestle.
Frank DeAngelis, a little stocky 134-pounder who had a lot of talent, was a great wrestler. I believe in around 75 or so when he was runner-up. They now live in the Tulsa area in Jenks.
Actually, they've since moved.
They have
in
moved.
the Tuttle area. Yeah.
Okay, because Justin finished at Jenks in high school, right?
That's correct.
Alex Dieringer comes in from Port Washington, Wisconsin. Highly recruited wrestler out of high school, redshirted last year, and has come in and done a bang-up job for the Cowboys as they had hoped. Only a couple of losses, one to number 1 ranked Derek St. John of Iowa and one to the Penn State wrestler in the Southern Scuffle in a bit of an upset. Other than that, he's been awfully tough. Has a great fireman's carry, by the way.
And he's got his tie
there it is,
right there. Clears that head now. There's potential back points. He's got it tight.
Wow, right to his back again. This is in big trouble. Oh, he braces over there. Nice job to get out of it.
Well, he had the pancake, but he didn't have the arms.
4-point move by Dieringer. Takedown and 2-point near fall. Boy, did we time that right, talking about the firemen's, huh?
Well, you brought up the firemen's, and I noticed that he had his inside tie. That's where Justin DeAngelis needs to wrestle. A lot of times people don't understand. It's not necessarily a shot. It's getting your tie up that enables the shot.
Yeah, everything, hand fighting, elbow control, all that is so important to get to where you need to be.
And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about wrestling. It is a science, it is an art, and there's that fireman's carry. Once he clears the head, he's going to have points and the possibility of backs.
Well, you look over the years, and in this state, we've seen some great ones going all the way back to Myron Roderick, obviously, Ron Ray, Jeff Coward, Ricky Stewart. I mean, you can just go down the road.
Talking fireman's carries?
Yeah, you don't.
Oh, yeah, Ricky Stewart beating who with the firemen? Dave Schultz, exactly.
And you just don't see it as much anymore, and it's great to see it come back with some guys now.
Well, it's funny. Legendary high school coach Billy Martin, Sr., used to call it the move that's not a move. But it's the move that Billy got beat in the NCAA finals with by Pat Milkovich.
Yes. Billy Martin, Granby High School in Granby, Virginia, for whom you hear us talk about the Granby roll. They're the ones who perfected that or started it. Good ankle pick right there by Dieringer, and there's 2, and he's up 6-1.
Jay Carl, here's the thing. Penn State is the strong favorite at the NCAA championships. But Oklahoma State, if they come to wrestle, and if they can get some bonus points by not only Jordan, but by guys like Z, who's capable of it, they can make a strong run.
That should be a very interesting tournament this year, and Dieringer wants to be a big part of that, and they need him to be a big part as the first period ends.
Absolutely.
Dieringer at work right there.
Okay, he takes a heel pick, or start of a heel pick, finishes a low single against Justin. And then works right for the tie-up on top, control.
Dieringer's choice to start the second. He's got a 6-1 lead, chooses bottom, quickly to his feet.
Justin's going to try and put a leg in.
And he gets it in. Let's see what he can do with that.
Well, he wants to arch there and get some pressure, otherwise he's going underneath there.
Dieringer, one of those young guys who had trouble the first half of the year underneath. He's gotten better, though, at it. Working toward a reverse here, and gets it. Does he have the cradle hooked up? Yes, he does. Near cradle hooked up by Dieringer with the 8-1 lead now. That was big.
Yep.
This is not good for DeAngelis here. He needs to break that. Be very careful here for DeAngelis. Get that elbow tucked under, you're in trouble, aren't you? Cannot get that left elbow tucked under where you can be turned over.
I'd bring my knees in and lift them up right in your lap, then take them over.
Dieringer trying to decide which way to go with it. And a stalemate. Did he call a stalemate? They gave 1-point escape on the edge. So 8-2.
With a minute to go. His dad, Frank, in his retirement now, has become a vintner. So he is a winemaker, and he might need a glass after this.
Something here, huh? 8-2. Dieringer with 1:16 riding time. Final 45 seconds of the second period. And, of course, DeAngelis, 13-5, has done a nice job, but hasn't wrestled the full schedule against other team starters.
He won't quit. He won't quit. He's got a lot of his daddy in him. He'll keep going. There's that sweep.
So it's an uphill battle for him coming in because Dieringer not only very talented, but has wrestled the full year against all the top people and has become battle-tested.
No question.
Now, for Dieringer, you're going to be looking for bonus points. You've got to get that up to a major.
Look for that heel pick there. Off the heel pick when a guy steps back, sometimes you'll try and pull pancake the guy.
Final 4 seconds. Looks like nothing else.
That's fireman's carry position right there.
8-2 after 2. DeAngelis choice. He does take bottom. Already 116 in arrears on riding time, so cannot afford to stay there very long. Caution on DeAngelis. Tried to get the perfect jump off the whistle, but was a hair too soon.
That's a good time to try it.
Sure. Yeah, you know you got to get out. You know you got a tough guy on top. Now Dieringer might choose to release him at some point. Trying to peel that waist hand free, comes right back in, doesn't get the reverse, but does get the 1. So 8-3 on the board, 123 riding time for Dieringer. Wow, watch out, looked like he wanted to double overhook and trip right there.
And that's a Jared Freyer move right there. Jared Freyer being one of the OU assistant coaches. OU has 2 Olympians, the only program with 2 Olympians this past summer in Jared Patterson and Sam Hazelwood. Of course, you got a few of those on the Oklahoma State bench as well.
Jared Freyer, right?
That's correct.
Not Jared Patterson.
Oh, did I say Jared Patterson?
Jared, of course.
Thinking of the future.
Jared Patterson, All-American in his own right. 8-3, 1:15 to go. Not much here since the escape. DeAngelis doing a better job defensively, but Dieringer still kind of stalking him, and there's a mass shot there.
Justin's a little straight-legged, needs to bend his knees, get his stance a little lower.
One of the things I've seen today, too, there's a good shot by DeAngelis, but hips down and back, good sprawl by Dieringer, no damage. Some of these people today who are backups who have wrestled throughout the day, I've seen them get tired in matches because they haven't been going 7 minutes hard against top competition all year. It does show up. Oh, there's a shot by Dieringer, and it's a dandy.
No, and you know what? A lot of these starters are getting that third workout in, that late-night run, and it's tough for the backups to see that big picture that, hey, I might be in there.
10-3, riding time is secured now, so it's an 8-point margin now, but it goes back to 7 as DeAngelis gets the escape. So 10-4 on the board, riding time locked up. So Dieringer needs one more takedown in the final 23 seconds. He's going to get a major decision. He's in on a double, and there it is. Beautiful double.
But Justin is letting him get on the inside where he can get his shots off, and that's been one of the big differences in the match.
Dieringer trying to ride it out. 12-4 plus the riding time of 1:57. 13-4 the final, a major decision. Puts the team score at 22-0. 13-4. Alex Dieringer. And we had a chance today to talk about something that's really impacted the wrestling world, and we say world, not just the United States, all over the world, when the IOC announced a few weeks ago that it planned to drop wrestling from the Olympics in 2020. And, of course, a lot of the people in the United States and other countries up in arms about it. We visited with Oklahoma State head coach John Smith and Sooner head coach Mark Cody about this situation. A lot of publicity, a lot of turmoil in the wrestling world in the past few weeks, not just in the United States, but worldwide after the International Olympic Committee's announcement that wrestling would be dropped from the Olympic Games in 2020, which raises the two obvious questions. Why did this happen, and what can be done to change that? Here with us this evening, John Smith, the Oklahoma State head coach, and Mark Cody, the University of Oklahoma head coach. And we had a chance to catch up with them today about this particular problem. And we'll start with you, John. Why do you think this happened in a nutshell?
Well, you know, I mean, we were all caught off guard across the world. I mean, USA Wrestling, nobody expected that. And we didn't even have a representative in Switzerland at the time. You know, there was no real concern that wrestling was in that threat. And I'm not sure that they really were. I think the way it worked out there, somehow wrestling just got shoved down because of the interest of the voting committee. And, you know, it's definitely a situation that, you know, I don't think anybody can explain. Nobody really knows why it happened.
We know steps are being taken here and in other countries to try to get the situation reversed. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, Jack, I think you wanted to talk to Coach Cody about how this decision, if it stood, could affect wrestling in other areas, not just Olympic wrestling.
Well, that is the question. How does it impact collegiate wrestling and American wrestling?
Well, I would hope that it wouldn't affect American wrestling or collegiate wrestling at all. You know, at this point, there are 250,000 high school wrestlers. And well, actually, if you want to include the women, there's about 275,000 high school and college high school wrestlers that are competing right now. And, you know, it's very strong at the college, the NAI, Division I, Division II, and Division III level. And, you know, I would hope that it wouldn't affect us at all.
John, you're a member of a committee here, I believe an 18-person committee in the United States to work on this from the U.S. level. What steps are you guys starting to take?
Well, I think the obvious steps is one, you know, bringing the world together. I mean, USA Wrestling, Rich Bender and Bill and Jim Shear, both world champions, really have, it's pretty amazing how fast we came together. I mean, when you talk about a worldwide commitment and getting organized, I mean, it's one of the fastest committees throughout the world I've seen come together so quickly, and everybody on the same page. So, you know, that's what's being done right now. Obviously, you know, we have an opportunity here to get our message out. It really can be one of the greatest things that's happened to our sport. Because what people are going to find out is how populated wrestling is, how well populated throughout the world it is, how important it is here in the U.S., here all over, as well as many countries throughout the world, and that message is really getting out there. And as you've seen articles, as you've seen information coming back from all over the world, it just, you know, puts a smile on my face. You know, I get excited about it and know that our committee here in the United States is just a small little piece of the pie. There's a big pie out there, and there's a lot of people that have passion for wrestling, not just us here in Oklahoma or in the United States.
Best thing that might come out of it, seeing the U.S., Russia, and Iran be allies all of a sudden?
I think quickly in wrestling anyway.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much, and we'll, of course, stay tuned in the wrestling community around the United States as this situation develops over the next months and years. We'll be right back after this with the 165-pound. Welcome back to Bedlam. J. Carl Guyman and Jack Spates ready to bring you the 165-pound match. Oklahoma State has taken a commanding 22-0 lead through the first 5 weights, but at 165, Tyler Caldwell, kind of a Sooner and a Cowboy, will be coming out for Oklahoma State, ranked 3rd nationally, against Geiges from the Sooners, again, who's one of the backups filling in tonight, so he'll have his work cut out for him. A sophomore from Charleston, South Carolina. He's 9-6. Tyler Caldwell, ranked 3rd in the nation from Wichita, Kansas, that area, Goddard, Kansas. We're underway. 27-4, suffered an upset earlier today, but ranked 3rd in the nation right now, and has a chance to kind of make some history before the year's over. We'll talk about that in a minute. Geiges going right in there on the attack.
This is interesting because these guys were teammates, they were friends, but Geiges was also a 133-pounder.
He's grown a bit.
Yeah, he's still a 57-pounder wrestling out.
Caldwell, though, counters out of it, gets the 2.
Little bit of trivia for you. Who's the last Oklahoma or Oklahoma State wrestler to jump ship?
Well, that's the one where I said there might be a little kind of a history for Tyler Caldwell as far as what he could do, assuming he's a 2-time All-American at Oklahoma, 5th and 2nd his first 2 years, then transferred, sat out a year, took an Olympic redshirt year, transferred to Oklahoma State. If he does earn All-America honors this year or next, which he likely will, he would become only the 2nd, not just wrestler, but athlete, I'm pretty sure, ever to be an All-American for both state schools. The
and
legendary
the first
Dave
being,
Schultz.
That's
who
right.
In 1978 was third in the NCAA here in Stillwater, transferred to Oklahoma and ended up being a runner-up and a champion for 2 years after that, joining his brother Mark Schultz down there. But no other athlete in any sport that I know of has been All-American at both sports, or at both schools in the same sport.
Looking
Caldwell
for
could do
that
the
bar arm tilt.
He's tough with that, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's tough on top. He's not a big turner, but he's a bear to try and get
Very
away
good
from.
rider, yeah, very good. Puts the big arm on you, doesn't he? The good tight waist, has a good bar arm series. Hardly ever throws in legs, but there we go. He got his turn there.
We talked about
that little chicken wing on the right arm of Geiges and has the 5 count, so he has 3 points coming. That'll make it 5-0.
But the last Oklahoma or OSU wrestler to jump ship was
To jump ship in which way now?
well. In this case, Oklahoma State to OU. Here's Tyler Caldwell on top with that bar arm, looking for the tilt.
Little bar arm, little chicken wing action there, and gets the tilt, throws the leg over, and
Actually, that's the Yankee coming out, bar arm back east, chicken wing out here.
yeah. It's like hip lock or whizzer. Which do you prefer? You know,
Legs or flankers, old Oklahoma
flankers,
term.
yeah. You know, there's a lot of people are whizzers when you throw in a hip lock side, and other people whizzers when you whip somebody over and pancake them. So it's totally, you got to remember where you are in the country when you use the terms.
Well, the last wrestler to transfer was Brian Burrows. You remember him?
Oh, sure.
Gwinnett, Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Former Pennsylvania state champion.
15 seconds left in the first. 5-0 Caldwell, firmly in command so far, as you would expect. Again, Geiges filling in here. Bubby Graham, the number 5 ranked wrestler in the country at this weight, and who took Caldwell to overtime in December. One of those guys not wrestling for Mark Cody tonight.
And that should be a real good battle tomorrow, because in the last match, it went to overtime. Bubby Graham comes to wrestle.
Sudden victory. Bubby is the one, he's the guy, too, who's just funky enough to give Caldwell problems, who's such a more traditional style wrestler. Caldwell quickly out to start the second and make it 6-0. And he has 2:22 riding time already built up from that first period takedown and ride out.
Too much size, too much power here.
Those little inside-outside trip action there, but Geiges drops to the leg.
That was an interesting quarter Nelson to an inside trip. And I'll tell you what, if you would tell people a couple of years ago that Derek Geiges would be within 5-6 points of Tyler Caldwell deep into the second period, nobody would believe it.
1:22 to go in the second. 6-0 Caldwell plus the riding time. Still in a long scramble situation here. Geiges shot to counter Caldwell's move. Now Caldwell countering Geiges and has the 2. Nice job on the scramble. The longer that went, the more trouble you knew Geiges was getting into. Too much horsepower there. And they'll go off with 57 seconds remaining. Riding time up to 2:34, 8-0. Cowboys lead the duel 22-0, and
Tyler Caldwell remains the pinningest wrestler in Kansas history, where he was a 4-time state champion.
And Kansas, the state of Kansas, has started in the last 10 years or so to produce some good, solid Division I wrestlers, and Oklahoma's had its share of them. University of Oklahoma.
Bo Manus, Kendrick Maple, Matt Reed, who we'll be seeing a little bit.
Caldwell,
boy. Tyler.
Cody Brewer.
Yep. No, Cody's a Missouri
he's
boy.
technically Missouri, Kansas City. He's on the, was he, Blue Springs?
I'm sure Kansas would claim him.
Yeah, that's right. Caldwell still riding a nice tight waist there on the right side. Throws in arm on the left side. A little half, I believe. But he went under.
He's got a
half.
claw there.
Got a claw there with a tight waist, and now he switches the tight waist to the left side. Final 10 seconds of the period, 8-0. And major decision territory, of course. Riding time already locked up regardless of what happens in the third period as time runs out in the second right there.
We had talked a little trivia about Mike Caruso and his legendary firemen. He beat the same wrestler in the finals 3 years in a row.
Yeah, there was some fear involved in that final. Bob Fear's great wrestler from Michigan, lost 3 times in the finals to Mike Caruso back then.
You are a trivia master. I must give you credit. There's a wonderful picture of the senior year on the stands. Mike Caruso's literally holding his hand and holding him up because Fears is so devastated. Great exhibition of sportsmanship.
He was a great wrestler, a great man too off the mat. So Caldwell firmly in command here, 8-0, and there's going to be the takedown for Caldwell to make it 10 as we started the period neutral. I think Geiges said, I've had about all of the fun I want to have underneath tonight. I believe I'll go neutral, but of course that didn't really work. Optional start, he's going to release him, so not so much an escape as being let out on parole.
That's a good way of putting it.
And 10-1
on a very short leash.
Sure.
There's a nice heel pick.
Was almost reincarcerated right there.
That's right. But look at this guy. He's still hustling.
He's out there. You know what? You like to see that if you're a coach, a guy who's outmanned, outclassed, outexperienced, everything else, but is still out there trying to score, trying to do what he can to defend and score and not just mailing it in.
And this is the key. You generally tell your athletes, don't worry about winning and losing. Wrestle from the beginning of the match, from the first whistle to the last. Wrestle, and even if you come up short, you're a winner.
Well, some of these guys, as Caldwell's takedown makes it 12-1, some of these guys are going to be in the lineup someday, some of these backups, and this is really good for them to get to wrestle in this situation here today. Gives them some really good experience. And I know it's painful to watch for that man, Mark Cody, as you see watching the match. It's a painful evening for him, but better days are ahead. No question.
As we talked about, he's going to become a real good coach next year.
Caldwell tried to trap the head and get a turn from out front. That didn't work, so he goes back behind it on top. Only 22 seconds left. Riding time over 4 minutes. Trying to get a 3-point turn and then something else. That's what it would take for a tech fall. Probably not going to get that. He'd have to hook up something in pinning.
Yeah, he needs a 2-2. Oh, actually needs a turn.
Caldwell, a 3-point.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, it would be 16-1. Beg your pardon, because the riding time is coming. He needs a 3-point near fall to get a technical fall. Geiges, the Dennis brothers, DeAngelis all got some good experience tonight, even though the results weren't what they wanted. And that'll be 32-1 with 4:36 riding time. Caldwell, the major decision, runs the team score to 26-0. And John Smith happy, although he knows this was not a typical Bedlam tussle right there. Next up, well, down to Aaron Jackson, who's standing by with our winner.
All right, Tyler, I have to ask you, you used to wrestle for Oklahoma, now you're with Oklahoma State. How have you been able to make that transition that a lot of guys probably wouldn't make?
Really, it's just all my training and taking every match as just another match and not really thinking about the situation more, just focusing on my performance.
You've also been labeled as a nice guy, but one who doesn't make a whole lot of friends on the mat. How do you feel about that label?
I'm sure it's true. I was joking around the other day saying I'm probably the most hated guy in the Big 12 Conference, and it's probably true.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Chris Perry coming up, number 2 ranked Chris Perry for the Oklahoma State Cowboys at 174 pounds when we come back. And we're back for the 174-pound match here at Bedlam in Gallagher-Iba Arena. And number 2 ranked Chris Perry, 28-2, the junior from Stillwater, goes against Oklahoma's Kyle Detmer, also a junior from Wichita, Kansas. 7-6. Detmer has only wrestled part of the season this year, as he's not been in the lineup full time. But Perry, the heavy favorite here, obviously, and looking to become an All-American again this year, and hopefully a national championship for the guy with all the Oklahoma State ties.
This is another situation where an Oklahoma wrestler's wrestling up. He's got one chance. He has a wicked headlock, and he's going to be looking for it.
Watch out. There it is. But Perry slips it and gets the 2. Hey, but that's what you got to try if you're in Detmer's spot, right?
Well, and not only that, you've got to give yourself a chance to win. And when you can pin people you can't beat. So, and that's a situation in which Chris Perry rather got pinned the other day in the national duels. A defensive fall with legs.
Defensive fall. You know, we talk about you can pin people that you can't beat in the full match. We can ask Josh Lambrecht from Oklahoma if that's possible. I know this is painful.
I appreciate you bringing that up.
The Sooner, who had a 14-2 lead in the NCAA finals about 6-7 years ago, and got headlocked or cement mixered and pinned in the third period with
about 10 seconds left.
There's Mr. Mark Perry, Chris's dad, and Mark is married to Kathy Smith Perry. John Smith's one of his sisters. So Chris, the nephew of John Smith, and Mark Perry was teammate of John Smith's here at Oklahoma State and an All-American wrestler for Oklahoma State. And his son, young Mark, 4-time All-American, 2-time NCAA champ at Iowa. Chris Perry putting some pressure on, almost had some back points, 2-0.
Hey, that was a great bridge, and that's a great example for younger wrestlers. Hey, don't quit. Get on that neck.
Perry tried to had kind of a power half thrown in at one time. I can't see the far side now. Well, now he brings that arm back, but tried to pull the right arm out.
He's a little like a shark smelling blood right here.
And you get a little cheap tilt there. And there it is. A good bridge, though, by... Uh-oh, he's in trouble here.
This could be it.
In trouble here. Not a good spot for Kyle Detmer. Back points are... Oh, nice job, though. Very flexible. Almost gets out of it. But he's not out of the woods. The headlock is applied. And we've got some trouble right here in River City now. High bridge.
There it goes.
Oh, and there's 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Chris Perry. As Jack said, Chris, a little upset a couple of weeks ago in the national duels, got pinned in overtime in a defensive fall situation that really...
And here's that pin right there.
There it is. Yep. Beautiful.
He didn't make too many transitions when he had him on his back, and that's where a lot of people lose guys. They keep changing off, and they lose the pinhold.
He kept the constant pressure, and his dad is very happy. Aaron Jackson with our most recent pinner, Chris Perry.
Thank you very much. All right. How much pressure do you feel to defend your individual Big 12 title tomorrow?
No pressure. Just trying to get ready for NCAAs. Having fun with it. Enjoying it. Just progress to the tournament. So it's been fun. Just trying to compete.
You have a third-place finish in the NCAAs. How close are you to getting over that hump?
I'm getting there. I'm close. This is my year, I think. So I'll be ready. Still got work to do. Nationals in 2.5 weeks or so. So I'll be ready. I just got to keep working hard.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Jay Carl.
Thank you, Aaron. Chris Perry, and that was Chris's mother, Kathy, walking behind him during that interview. Chris Perry looking forward to Nationals. We're looking forward to 184 coming up next. Welcome back to the Bedlam match in Gallagher-Iba Arena, and there you see head coach Mark Cody of the Sooners and Jared Frayer off to his left, trying to figure out a way to get the Sooners on the board. It's a rough night, obviously, with the less than usual lineup that the Sooners have out there, but tomorrow's another day. They'll have everybody back in there. Kendrick Maple, both of the Lesters, and Bubby Graham. Ready for 184. A freshman from Wichita again, Matt Reed for the Sooners. 13-16. He's usually at 174. And he's wrestling the favorite, 11th ranked Chris Chionuma for the Cowboys, 14-8. That's not right. But anyway, he's a senior from Blue Springs, Missouri, and transferred from Lindenwood, where he won an NAIA national championship 2 years ago, although that was at 165 pounds. He had to really try to bulk up to be a solid 184. Plan was for him to wrestle 165, and then Tyler Caldwell came in, so Chionuma had to jump up above Chris Perry to get in the lineup.
And he's another guy that, I mean, he's put himself in a situation where he could score points at nationals, possibly a place finisher. That would be huge in their title hunt.
He's had some. He's 24-8 instead of 14-8. I beg your pardon, but he's had some great matches against Kevin Steinhaus of Minnesota, who's one of the top 5. And a chance, I believe, to get in the top 8 if he wrestles very well at Nationals. And there's a contact lens, goes flipping out of there.
And I'm going to tell you this about Matt Reed. Not a stellar record, but this kid is going to be an outstanding wrestler. He's battled a long season. He needs a redshirt year, and he will come back and he will win.
Good leverage there with Reed, you know, again, being a freshman, trying to get in there and do something, even though he's against a senior and a guy who's got a lot more experience.
And remember, Matt Reed was an all-state quarterback on the state championship team. He's not used to wrestling such a long season, so it's taken a toll on him, but he'll come back. OU's got a lot of young guys, a lot of young talent.
And a nice shot by Chionuma, who converts a double leg into a single and gets the 2, or did I say it backwards? He started off with 1 and switched to the other. Got the 2. I was going to say Chionuma is a guy who wrestles like a lightweight. He's really quick and has a great arsenal of takedown moves on his feet, all the way from trips to leg shots. Really a tough guy on his feet.
And his mobility has served him well moving up. Guys are not as quick up there.
He's very quick. He's had some trouble underneath against some of the very best 184 pounders because he gives up a little bit of size. He's up 2-0 under a minute to go in the first. Releases Reed to make it 2-1.
The coaches, in moving him up for this meet, thought he might have a better shot against Chionuma than against Perry.
Very well could be. Perry's so good defensively, but of course Chionuma's so quick he's hard to get in on with any success, and there's 2 as he counters Reed's shot.
And that's a situation in which that could have been a score for Matt Reed, but he just doesn't quite believe.
First takedown
Here's
tonight.
that takedown. Knee pull single, comes up, foot block, changes off to a double. Textbook.
I think I said it backwards. Single to a double. I think I said double to a single, but 2 points any way you count it. Well, Chionuma is a guy, though, like we said earlier, who could be a factor nationally, and they need him in the top 8 if they're going to dethrone Penn State. There's a little confusion by Chionuma on the whistle, so
well, and there's that opportunism going right off the whistle.
Chionuma back in on the leg and has the far ankle almost, and now he does the 2. By the way, when we talk about Penn State being the favorite, over the last 3 weeks, if you took the individual rankings and projected place points and advancements in the national tournament, it's been Penn State and Oklahoma State almost neck and neck, ironically. Now Penn State's about 8 points ahead. So it's interesting. It changes every week as the rankings change, but it could be a very good battle in a couple of weeks in Des Moines.
No, I agree, and extra points will be huge in that. There have been years where extra points right out of the gate have been the difference.
That can be the whole difference in the tournament. You get pens and major decisions and tech falls. Chionuma starts the second period underneath, comes up out, tries to duck under.
And drop those hips, Matt Reed. Drop those hips.
He's given the escape, so he has a chance to score 3 total. He could get 1 and 2.
He's in trouble here.
Reed trying to battle it, fight it off. Hanging in there, no takedown yet. 6-2, Chionuma. What does he need to do? Clear the head to get the takedown?
Yeah, or capture that other leg with his arm. See him trying to get his arm through. There it is.
Not yet, says Kenny Ritchie, the referee. And Reed battles away to live another day.
I thought he gave the 2. Did he not give the 2?
Oh, he did. I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Ironically, got a little bit of block right in front of us when they're on far edge, and I wasn't sure he had given it to him. So it is 8-2, or 8-2. So he gave him technically a reverse. Is that right? Was he in the bottom position?
I don't think so. I think it was a takedown.
Okay, so anyway, 2 points either way, takedown or reverse. 8-2, 145 riding time for Chionuma.
Where's our technical support? Where's our replay? What's going on here?
Oh, man, 8-2, Chionuma trying to pile it on. Reed doing his best to hang right in there and keep within reach. He's given a good account of it.
Well, and here's the danger. Where's his head? His head is down, and that's one of the things that we've talked about. You see that sometimes with Keldrick, the OU heavyweight, who's a lot better than he thinks. If you want to get out, you got to have your head up.
Watch out now. Reed trying to headlock from underneath. Almost got seriously on his back. Tries to headlock out of it. But is still in the down position right now.
Well, big play moves are a Wichita South trademark. You've got Kendrick Maple with a snake. Former Sooner wrestler Chase Nelson with a snake and a wicked headlock. And Matt Reed has one as well. Just not done with enough confidence right now.
Chionuma's riding time over 2:40, and he has an 8-2 lead and firmly in control here. Now he's got to be looking for bonus points. Reed still trying to hang in there within shouting distance as the time runs out in the second. 8-2 and 2:50 riding time for Chionuma. And let's see what Reed does. Going to choose bottom, I think. Could get a gimme escape. Chionuma might let him up, say, let's get back on our feet.
Now he can, with the new rule, do that just by a signal of his hands.
Yeah, and I don't see hardly anybody do it. They almost always still signal optional start and then push him away when under the new rule you can just say let him up, give 1 point.
Yeah, and honestly I think it just hasn't sunk in yet. Yeah.
So 8-3
at high school is very popular.
8-3 after the escape, but Reed in trouble as Chionuma, a good leg shot, and gets 2. 10-3. And with the riding time, Chionuma in bonus range now for at least a minute.
Oh, there's that takedown, single up in the air, foot blocks the other leg. And here's a situation where if Matt doesn't stop, he just hustles a little more, keeps moving, they don't call the 2.
Lets Reed go to make it 10-4. Chionuma a shot that's not there. Chionuma's a guy who has a pretty good gas tank and wrestles good third period, so Reed's got to keep after it, not think you can coast the last 117, as they call the stalemate.
And some of the fatigue that you think you see in Matt when he puts his head down is mental fatigue, not physical.
I think sometimes the guy that when he's out-experienced and outclassed and they've been taken down 4 or 5 times, they start to say, well, what do I try next? What do I do? And they just kind of get in a fog, like you say, and while they're thinking, the other guy's attacking.
Well, remember, a lot of these guys, they're not used to having lost. This guy's a couple of times state champion, a high school national champion. Now he comes in, he's got a losing record. It's a rare bird like that wrestler who went into the NCAAs with a losing record and won the national championship. And who was that?
Mark Branch. He was 8-13 going into the Nationals.
Very good.
As a freshman, won it.
And in the Big 12 championship, he got pinned by a guy by the name of Jason Leonard, who's now the director of compliance at OU and was my first All-American.
Well, he put Mark Branch in jail in that Big 8 tournament with that pin. But
that he did.
12-4 as Chionuma gets another takedown. That's his 5th of the night. And Jack, you hate to bring up negative stats, but I don't think Oklahoma has a takedown tonight.
Yes. At 125, remember the knee tap?
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yep. I got it right back here. Garcia. I kind of marked. I wasn't sure if it was a takedown.
Is that the only one?
That's the only one I see. Chionuma back in again. And he gets 2 at the buzzer. 14-5 plus the riding time makes it 15-5, the major decision.
Well, you know what? That serves them well for the NCAAs. That's what they've got to do. Hustle from whistle to whistle.
Great job by Chionuma, 36-0. The team
single
score,
attempt by Reed.
To go to 197. There's the takedown. Nolan. And Oklahoma State on a roll here, 36-0 in Bedlam against shorthanded Oklahoma this evening. The second-ranked Cowboys looking to roll into the Big 12 championship tournament tomorrow here at Gallagher Arena. Starts at 5 p.m. Nolan McBryde will come out for the Sooners at 197. Now, that's not his natural weight either. He's usually a 184. They moved him up because Johnson, the normal 197 pounder, is suspended for 1 day of competition from an action last week in a match, so he couldn't wrestle tonight. So that's why they bumped McBryde up to 184. He's 4'9", a junior from Eagle River, Alaska. Blake Rosholt ranked 11th nationally for the Cowboys from Ponca City. 12-6, a junior, and he missed about 10 matches this year because of an injury. So he's been out, but obviously the heavy favorite here.
And Nolan McBryde is actually a 174-pounder. And the only way he could win is if they cut heads, which is an expression for doing a guitar wrestle-off, so to speak, because he is an incredible guitarist.
And there's the first takedown by Rosholt very quickly.
He does Stevie Ray Vaughan behind his back, but the only way he's going to win tonight if they would give him his guitar and he would bang it over the head of Blake Rosholt.
Maybe if they made Rosholt hold the guitar behind his back while he wrestled. And we're not being disrespectful to Nolan McBryde, but it is what it is. He's up a couple weights. He's given up a lot of experience, skill, and size.
And look at the courage to be willing to do this for his team. That's something that's gone unmentioned. These guys are team players. Hey, it's okay, Coach.
Yeah.
I'll wrestle. I'll go up a weight if you need me. I'm there for the team.
A lot of teams, a lot of coaches would allow them to. They say, well, we'll just forfeit that weight. You know, they put him out there, and I'm glad to see that. Credit to him and to Mark Cody. Rosholt, the third of the excellent Rosholt brothers who have wrestled here, Jake and Jared, and then now Blake. Would have had a fourth in Adam, and who was in a serious car accident in high school and was having an outstanding high school career and was not able to return to wrestling, or he probably would have been here also.
Well, one of the prolific families in wrestling history. Wrestling comes in families. The Smiths, the Perrys, the Rosholts.
Good turn by Rosholt. He has the count. That's going to be a 3-point near fall to make it 5-0. Jared Rosholt. So Rosholt with a 5-0 lead. 105 less than the first. McBryde's had no luck trying to get away so far. Rosholt has, not only is he a good rider and he's bigger, but he's got leverage. He's a long 197-pounder. He's about 6'3", and it's really good leverage, tough to get away from. Goes out to the side. Hammerlock on the left arm of McBryde.
He actually looked good in the earlier match against Kyvan Gadsden, who was highly ranked. Yeah. Great. He's just rounding back into form.
Gadsden won that one 6-5 today, and that's Gadsden, a standout for the Cyclones. Son of a great wrestler years ago, Willie Gadsden.
That's exactly right.
That you said.
Great wrestler, great man.
And there's a nice escape on McBryde. Rosholt being very aggressive on top.
Nice knee pull single. He hit that on Gadsden, too. That's sweet.
Continuing to put the pressure on. Into the first 5-1 there, we have Jake Rosholt on the left, Jared in the middle, a 3-time All-American at heavyweight, Blake on the right. Jake Rosholt, a 4-time All-American, 3-time NCAA champion. And he's always my answer to how tough the Big 12 conference has been. He won the NCAA championship 3 times, won the Big 12 once. And wrestled in it all 4 years.
Yes.
And ironically, the only year he won the Big 12, he didn't win the NCAA. Weird. But great wrestlers, 3-time All-Americans, gone into all the mixed martial arts.
Other brothers, both All-Americans as well.
Jared was a 3-time All-American. 4th, 3rd, and 2nd.
I know we didn't have a whole lot of success against them.
Big, strong guys from Sandpoint. Sandpoint?
Yes.
Idaho. Right. Then the family moved down here when Jake was wrestling in Oklahoma State.
And, you know, Blake was never a state champion, but, boy, he's certainly come on in college.
He's a guy who developed late and grew late as he gets the 3-point near fall to make it 8-1. And as a matter of fact, his senior year, I believe, he lost the state finals. I saw the match. He lost to Chris Perry.
That's exactly right.
About 170 was what they were wrestling in. And Chris Perry was smaller than that. But Blake has really developed and grown and worked hard. And
I think that was 189.
might have been.
Have I gotten you on a trivia?
Might have been. Chris Perry moved up to help his team, and I can't remember which weight he moved up to for sure, but he was not that big, obviously. He was, but he moved up a full weight at least. 8-2 after the escape by McBryde. Hanging in there, doing his best. Just hasn't really had an answer so far for anything.
His big move also is a fireman's carry, but boy, carrying that big load up 2 weight classes, awful tough. I think he's looking for survival right now.
Final 10 seconds of the second period, 8-2, 3:41.
There's going to be a warning here if he keeps backing up.
Yeah, he's been given a lot of ground, no question, as the time runs out in the second. Rosholt working tough on top.
Here he's got that. There's that bar arm tilt Oklahoma State is so lethal with. And when that arm comes off the back, it's also very painful.
Rosholt starts bottom in the third period, quickly out of there in 5 seconds. So he's got riding time cinched for the match with 3:35 and only 1:45 left in the match. So.
McBryde also has a low single. He's a little reticent to get in, but we'll see if we see it.
Boy, good low single right there by Rosholt. And there's 2. By the way, going back to that Garcia match, I think his 2-point move might have been scored as a reverse, but I'm not positive. I had it written down each way, and I wasn't sure. It was early in the third, and I think he started down in reverse, but I wouldn't swear to it. So, been a tough night takedown-wise for Oklahoma.
It's been a tough night in every way, and my heart goes out to Coach Cody and his young assistants there. Great coaches, Michael Leitner, Jared Frayer, Tyrone Lewis. There are better days to come.
Rosholt firmly in control here, and with a 36-point margin already, this is going to be a bigger margin than 38-3 back in 2003.
There's Coach Cody with Jared Frayer, Olympian Jared Frayer, on his left, all right.
Jared Frayer, a great Greco wrestler and great upper body guy with great throws.
Well, part of their hopes lie with the young men that are sitting in those stands. Andrew Howe, Travis Rutt, Jared Patterson, a national champion, 2 All-Americans that are going to make them very good coaches next year.
Should be a great team race again next year, too, so they've got that to look forward to. 12-2 here, plus riding time now 12-3 with the gimme escape.
This really is a very credible performance, down by 9 against an outstanding wrestler 2 weight classes up.
And Rosholt gets his third takedown of the match, plus he has 6 near fall points and a penalty point and an escape. So 14-3 with the riding time locked, 12 seconds left. It's actually 15-3. So this is going to be a major decision here. Final 7 seconds. Rosholt on the way to a big decision over an outmanned opponent. There's the escape.
That's what you like to see, battling right to the whistle.
Absolutely. 15-4 adding the riding time to the major.
There were some words after that match, and I can't figure out what happened.
Blake Rosholt gets the victory and maintains the shutout for the Cowboys.
Here, watch right here. You're going to see there's a couple of words right there.
I'm not sure what he was saying.
Nolan said a few back. No, and I don't know what the problem was. He was just hustling until the end of the whistle.
I agree. Getting that escape showed some gumption with 3 seconds left. Okay, Aaron Jackson standing by with Blake Rosholt.
Thank you very much. Okay, Blake, I have to ask you what you said just now coming off the mat, because that seemed intriguing.
Just did a good job, honestly. I mean, he didn't wrestle me, but whatever. Try to be a good sport about it.
Your brothers are here, MMA fighters now, of course, amazing wrestlers in their day. Your sister played soccer here. What's it like around the dinner table at your house? Because it seems like it'd be pretty rough.
It's pretty competitive, to say the least. But, we're all real close, so all the accomplishments my family has made are all part of one.
Multiple NCAA championships, All-American honors. What would it be like to join your brothers in that kind of company?
It'd be phenomenal. I plan on doing it this year and the next year, so hopefully I can join them.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Jay Carl.
Thank you, Aaron. Blake Rosholt, the last of that great family, going to heavyweights next when we come back. And we go to the big boys in the Bedlam match. We're at heavyweight, our last bout of the evening, and for Oklahoma, Keldrick Hall, the senior from Dallas, who wrestled 197 the last couple of years, now has gone up to heavyweight. And it looks like it's going to be Tyson Yoder for the Cowboys, who's back up. Actually, he's the number 3 heavyweight here. They're redshirting back up Austin Marsden. And he is 18-7, including a 5-2 victory in the OCU tournament. The first day of competition this season, back in November, he did beat Hall 5-2.
Nice drag attempt by Keldrick, and I'm guessing this is a concession, one to Tyson for a reward for all his years of effort, and maybe also to OU throwing a bone. But this should be a very competitive bout.
Sure.
Keldrick has come on recently, beat the number 19th wrestler in Ben Applin from Michigan, pinned a very good wrestler in David Marone from Virginia Tech. He has always been able to wrestle. He has just struggled immensely with his confidence.
Now, I'm guessing Keldrick weighing around 225.
That's correct.
I mean, Yoder's about 270. So size advantage to Yoder, but of course, as the match goes on, carrying that extra weight can be a disadvantage.
Yep. And there have been bigger heavyweights wrestle here in Galga.
Yes, there have. We had,
amongst them are?
Well, Chris Taylor, Dr. Mitch Shelton,
yep.
Jimmy Jackson.
Yep.
Even Herb Calvert wasn't exactly off his feed for the Sooners back then. So some good-sized people participated in Bedlam. And if Hall could pull off the win here, there hasn't been a shutout in the Bedlam duel since 1992, and it would be nice for him to do that for OU to avoid a shutout, which was 43-0, by the way. If Yoder wins a decision here, that's what it would be. The Hall can knock that off with a victory here.
So would I get fired now if I said, go Keldrick?
Well, I think that, it's... and we're not trying to make too much light of the situation, but it's a good spot for Hall to be in, to have a chance to break the shutouts.
Well, and I like the look on his face, because you and I have talked about at times he gets that look on his face, and you can see it's HEW, had enough wrestling. He's coming out with a spark. There's a little inadvertent headbutt. Mm-hmm. If it was purposeful, it would have been a point.
And they give the wrestler a couple of seconds to recover without having him call an injury timeout, because of the rules now. You're put at a disadvantage when you call an injury timeout,
What you got to do in Keldrick's situation is use your mobility to create angles. You don't want to go underneath that guy straight on. You want to create angles.
No score here in the first. A reach by Yoder, not there.
Pancake attempt. Got to get a hand, get weight on the hand there.
There's 2 by Hall. Good job.
Now here's a situation also in which the reverse is true. Tyson has not seen a lot of action as of late. How's his conditioning going to be? Here's that takedown, trying to get the weight on the hand. Nice pinch of the ankle.
Now, being a backup, most of Yoder's matches have been in open tournaments, and earlier in the year there aren't many open tournaments after January. Controls the ankle, does Hall, and brings Yoder back to the mat.
This is the Keldrick Hall that can be up. There's a locking hands. That's a big point right there. It nullifies the takedown. One escape, one locking hands. Although actually they have not awarded. Yeah, they did award it.
One penalty point against Hall for locking the hands. So Yoder can tie it up. Oh, he does get the escape, so it is tied. 2-2.
The only thing he got out of that is 23 seconds riding time.
And that's big because, again, you got away late when it's hard for Hall to have a chance to get any of those points back. So,
but I like his body posture. Even having gotten a tough call like that, he looks like he's ready to wrestle.
And we talked about backup wrestlers not being ready to go 7 hard minutes against good competition. When do you think Tyson Yoder's last official match was? January the 1st.
Is that right?
In the Southern Scuffle. Wow. So he hasn't had a match in 2 months. And in the room, we're working out, of course, but it's not the same as going.
He probably has a few tussles with a guy by the name of Z.
There we go. Yoder chooses bottom to start the second.
You got to bump, Keldrick. You got to bump with your hips there. You're not going to bring just be able to hold a guy like that. Nice.
Yoder kicks away. Good escape.
Nice escape by Yoder. Does a limp knee at the end.
The crowd loves it.
These guys are doing some banging out there. I'll tell you what, if Yoder wins, the roof is coming off this place.
It would be a big thing for them. One, obviously, anytime they can shut out their rival, that would be a big thing to the home fans. And to see a backup win on senior night, they would love that. But by the same token, Hall would like to go out there and finish this off in style.
Well, remember, this is his last dual meet as well.
Right. And he'll be done.
Nice high leg attack. Once again, nice limp knee by Yoder.
Good job there by both men.
There's some wrestling going on here. Front headlock attempt.
Hall putting the pressure on.
Well, there's a warning on Yoder.
Stall warning.
You got some action. There's that high leg attack. There's that limp knee again. Another high leg attempt. And he backs him off, which is responsible for the stalling warning, which could play a big
third period. It could be big.
Exactly
35 seconds left in the second period. 3-2 Yoder. Remember, though, it's Hall's choice in the third. He could tie it with an escape if nothing else happens.
What happens when you're hitting those high leg attacks? Now the opponent straightens his arms out to keep you away. That's the time to come back with the drag.
Yoder, a little fake shot, just maybe for the officials' benefit more than anything. 10 seconds to go. Takedown would be huge for either man here. Not going to happen, though. 2 seconds, one, and we'll go to the third. 3-2 Yoder. Hall with the choice. Tie it up with the escape. Here we go. Let's see who has the most gas left in the tank.
Uh-oh, watch out.
And Hall's away quickly, and we're tied in. In for two. And he gets it. Great move by Keldrick Hall.
That's just hustle right there. As soon as he got away, boom, right back in on the shot. Yoder's feeling sorry for himself a little bit. Relaxed. Yeah.
Good.
Here it is right there. Boom, right back in on that drive double. Once again, an escape right to the takedown.
Great job. Great quickness on that move.
But this match is far from over.
Got about a minute and a half left. 1 point lead for Hall. 5-4. Keldrick Hall, the senior from Dallas, from Molina High School, I believe. And Hall, or rather Yoder, also a senior. Their last dual matches, and for Yoder, his last match period. He won't be in the tournament tomorrow. Crowd trying to encourage Yoder. Under a minute to go. He's got to score. Hall doesn't have to score, and Yoder's headgear.
I'm not sure how Tyson's going to score on him, because I don't see him quick enough to have a real good leg attack on him. But he had to do something in beating him 5-2 earlier.
Might have to go upper body. Hall probably will stay out of that. 40 seconds to go. No stalling warnings on Hall, so he's in good shape there. Leg shot by Yoder, not there.
Watch the drag out here. Watch the drag out.
Almost by Yoder. Good move there. Good counter by Hall. Both of them really tired right now.
They should be tired. These guys have done some hard wrestling. That's exactly right. And the crowd recognizes it.
Final 15 seconds. Yoder trying to win it. Hall hanging on. Stall warning against Hall, but not a point, just a warning. 5 seconds. And Hall gets it done. 5-4. Great match.
That was a great match. Not great wrestlers necessarily, but great wrestling. These guys came to battle.
And the great escape and takedown, bang, bang, early in the third, decided it for Keldrick Hall.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Great quick move. 40-3, our final duel score. That's Keldrick Hall. So we're going to have more to follow up on the Bedlam Wrestling right after this. And welcome back to Gallagher-Iba Arena. Oklahoma State wins it 40-3 over Oklahoma on senior night. The Cowboys 40, the Sooners 3, and they've gone out and accepted, has Oklahoma State, the 2013 Big 12 Dual Championship. Of course, the big one that everybody wants is the Conference Tournament Championship. That'll be decided here tomorrow night. It was senior night as they honored the seniors here for Oklahoma State. Tyson, Yoder, Jordan Oliver, Chris Chionuma, Joe Ali. And they brought those wrestlers out early and talked with them. But now we have Aaron Jackson is standing by with John Smith and Jordan Oliver.
Thank you very much, guys. First of all, Coach Smith, not exactly the way you wanted to end the night, I'm sure, but you have to be pleased with the way that your wrestlers performed here overall.
Well, you know, you got to come and want to win, you know, and I'm not sure some of these teams did that today. Kind of waiting for tomorrow and probably protecting a few guys, but we came to win today, and we knew we needed to win 3 dual meets to win the regular season championship, and that's what we did. You know, it was important to us as part of our team goal, and you know, 40-3, pretty dominating.
You recognize the seniors on senior night. Can you talk about just how special this group of seniors really is?
Well, you know, they've been fun to watch wrestle. They've been a headache at times, I'll tell you that. Knuckleheads about 3/4 of the time, but overall pretty good kids. And, you know, it's been fun watching guys like Z and Jordan Oliver. And then you got 4 or 5 guys that are graduating that were backups that played a role as a backup and for 4 or 5 years. And, you know, really deep down, those guys are special guys, you know, and they're going to be real successful as they go through their journey of life. I'll tell you, they're special guys.
It'll be fun to watch them in the NCAAs. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Speaking of one of those guys that'll be fun to watch in the NCAAs, and one of the guys that's leaving here, Oklahoma State, Jordan Oliver. Now, you went up 2 weight classes here in the last year. You trained with the Olympic team. Just how has that not only prepared you for the NCAAs, but for wrestling beyond college?
Coming here, even before college, my college experience with wrestling, my ultimate goal was to win an Olympic title. And I knew getting recruited to come to Oklahoma State, this was going to be the place for me. Obviously, wrestling under head coach John Smith, you know, one of the best wrestler to ever walk the land in my eyes, and it just fit my style. And getting to train with the Olympic team and getting to watch the Olympics firsthand, going over there was a great experience for me. I had anxiety sitting in the stands. You know, I wanted to just get up and go work out and start training just because I fell short last Olympic cycle, but again, what you saying, jumping up 2 weight classes, that's kind of preparing me for the international circuit and international wrestling, going 66 kilo, which is 145 and a half. You know, I think I outgrew 60 kilo, which is 132. So I think going 149 is a more comfortable position for me to focus and get better in my wrestling and in my technique, and to transfer over into international.
Well, I know a lot of people in Stillwater are going to be rooting for you. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jay Carl.
Thanks, Aaron. Big night for the Cowboys. Big night for Jordan Oliver. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. And we're back in Gallagher-Iba Arena, where Oklahoma State has defeated Oklahoma 40-3 to wrap up a wild day of wrestling here, and they'll have more tomorrow. The Big 12 tournament right here in Gallagher-Iba tomorrow evening. Jack Spates along beside me. And Jack, listening to John Smith, I'm shocked hearing a college coach refer to athletes as occasionally being like knuckleheads. You never thought that, did you?
Thought it, said it, experienced it.
Well, Jordan Oliver, Aaron talked to also, and what a great competitor, unbeaten this year. He's on a roll, looking for another NCAA title. An Olympic hopeful.
Oh, I think you will see Jordan Oliver represent the United States in Olympic competition. Remember, he barely missed weight at 60 kilograms in the world trials, went up and almost beat the great Brent Metcalf, who was an Olympic alternate. So this is a great one. You're going to see him represent the USA.
3 pins today. That was his last one tonight in the Bedlam match. He had an outstanding day, an outstanding season. Well, that'll do it. From Bedlam in Stillwater, Oklahoma, for my partners Jack Spates and Aaron Bajackson, I'm J. Carl Guyman saying good night, everyone, from Stillwater, Oklahoma.